everyone. Today is a very, very special event. It is Friday morning at 11:09. So, good morning. We had 54 people registered today, which is amazing. In case you don't know who I am Zoe, and I like to go by the hostess with the mostest. We have with us today Linda and Anika from Storyna, and they are doing a very special presentation and exercise about memory writing. Should you do it and how to get started? So I am going to turn the floor over to them. Linda, welcome and take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here with my cousin Anika. We're actually cousins, and she is actually dialing in from London, from the UK. So a little different time zone. I'm going to try and share my screen. So give me a second.
While you're doing that, I have to ask, what time is it in London right now?
It is now 5:10 in the evening. So my kids are all downstairs, and Daddy is in charge of dinner at the minute. So yeah, it's in the evening.
Wow. All right. Well, welcome.
All right. And Anika, your internet sounded a little wonky. I don't know if there's anything else that's on, but anyway. All right. So I'm Linda, as I said. Anika and I founded this company called Storyna to really help people capture their memories and their life stories. And so what we want to talk about today with you is a little bit of why we believe it matters. We're going to do an actual writing little exercise, and then we're going to do share some tips, and then obviously share how Storyna can help. So let me see how I can do it with the slides. Well, there we go. Actually, let me go back. So this is me on the left. This is my cousin on the right, just so you know. All right. So before we get started, I wanted to share our story and how Storyna was inspired. And that's really the story of our grandmother, who you see on the left. I'm in the middle. This is a while ago. And then that's my mom. And on the right, you see my kids. My grandmother had a really interesting life story. We are all from Germany, my cousin and I. So we grew up in Germany, and obviously my grandmother did. So there was a lot of history there, and a crazy time that she grew up in. And so we always encouraged her to write down some of her memories. And she kind of tried, but she didn't quite know how to go about it. I think she also wasn't sure if it really mattered. So she ended up trying, but she gave us, I think, 2 sheets of paper at one point. I honestly can't even tell you anymore who has those now. So we basically just really lost that story. And I think, it's such a shame. There's so much learning in her story, and obviously a lot of memories that I have with her, that the family has with her. So my kids, who never really got to meet her, are not able to hear her story and hear her voice and learn from her. And so that's kind of what originally inspired creating a platform and services that help people capture their life stories. But we're not alone. So there's another story. As we were kind of starting to go on the path of finding a way to help people capture their memories, we started to talk to people, and more of those people shared with us their lost stories of their parents or their grandparents. And so this is my friend Chris, who shared the story about his dad, who passed away more or less unexpectedly. I think it actually was pretty quick. And they had never really thought about capturing much about his life until he was all of a sudden really sick and in the hospital. And his granddaughter, who you'll see here, she actually went to preschool with my daughter. She bought, kind of as he was in the hospital, she bought one of those books. I think it's like 100 questions to ask your grandparents type book. And they were trying to ask him these questions, but they were able to ask, I think, 1 or 2. And then unfortunately, he was really too weak to answer the questions at that point. So he really was another person who shared a painful experience of a lost story. And there are many, many more of those. So if I leave you with anything today, then it is that your story matters. And it matters to your kids, to your grandkids. It matters to the generations to come. I think a lot of times when we talk to people about writing, that's their big question. Does it really matter? Am I important enough? Do I have enough to say? My life is really average. But for the people that love you, your story matters, and it is very important to them. So if I, again, leave you with anything, then it is, your story does matter. But this is all about other people, right? So we want our parents, our grandparents to capture their memories for our benefit. So what about you? What do you get from it? So I'm gonna hand this over to Anika to talk about what's in it for you.
But before I go into that slide, well, first of all, can I check that my internet is better? So I've closed a bunch of things. Is the quality better, or do I need to do more?
No, you're looking and sounding great.
Sounds good to me. Cool. So before I go into this, I wanted to invite you all to quickly type into the chat whether you've been asked by any of your family to write, or whether this is something that you want to do for yourself. So yeah, does that resonate what Linda was talking about, that oftentimes it's the children or the grandchildren that are really intrigued about your story, and those are the people that are the trigger often, and will ask you to write your story. So while I go through this slide, maybe for those of you who want to share, just type in the chat, yes, I've been asked. Okay, so Barbara saying you want to do it for yourself. I think that's brilliant. Okay, so a mix. Some people say, so Terry, you're saying your granddaughter and daughters. Okay, so interesting. Thank you. Okay, so what's in it for you? As you can see on the slide there, there's a whole host of different reasons. One is to just capture your life story for yourself and pass it on as family history. And that works for you, not only for you, but also for your loved ones. Another one is to be able to connect with others and with your loved ones, particularly if you haven't seen them for a while. It's a really great way to, connect back in with them. If you're writing it on your own, it might be a way for you to reflect and figure out where have you got to in your life up to now, and where do you want to go next. So it's a really good way to take stock. And if you are writing it in a group, or if you're writing it with a ghostwriter, if you're quite a social person, I get the sense that this group is a very social group. So if you were writing it together in a community, it's a great way to connect with friends and like-minded individuals who are sort of in the same boat and all trying to achieve the same thing. And then, as you can see there, there's a whole host of other great reasons. So it enhances memory, it reduces stress, it boosts your self-confidence, and it is also really good psychologically. So they've proven that writing can help you put old hurts and old issues that you might have had to bed, because you write about them, you think about them, you work through them, and then you sort of let go of them and go, okay, I'm not going to let that bother me anymore, and you move on. So writing is a really, really great way to help you in that respect as well. Okay, Linda, next slide, please.
Yep.
Okay, so a lot of our clients and customers, they ask us, well, how do I capture memories, and what's the right way to do this? And in an answer, in a very short nutshell answer, there is no right or wrong way to do it. It is a very personal process, and it's whatever works for you. So some people enjoy capturing their memories moment by moment. Others very much more prefer to do it chronologically. And then there are a whole host of other ways and really fun ways of doing it. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit, little bit more detail in a minute. But in terms of the actual writing, again, some of you might prefer writing it by hand. Some of you might prefer computers. You might do it in a group. You might do it on your own with a ghostwriter. It really doesn't matter. It is whatever works for you. So if I now very quickly run through a number of different ways that you can access those memories. So as we said, moment by moment is literally, we call it memory journaling. So you would sit and let your mind wander back through time and let it sort of stop at points in time that matter to you and that are sort of magic moments for you. And then you jot down those magic moments. And it doesn't matter how far back or whether you jump around, it's just wherever your mind takes you. And it's quite emotional, I guess, is the access point, because you'll let your mind wander to, what were the smells and what were the sounds and what did it feel like? So that's one way of doing it.
And let me
the other end of
sorry, I want to interrupt you, but I thought I would share an example of that. So as we're obviously working on this, memory keeping is on our mind. And so this happened to me a couple of weeks ago, where I was in the kitchen preparing dinner and I was peeling the hot potatoes. And I always struggle with it because I have to use a fork because I can't touch the potato because it's so hot. And then you're trying to get it all to work and it's always a mess. But in that moment, I just remembered my grandmother, because she never had a problem touching the hot potato and just, you know, peeling it. And so it was just this. So I just grabbed my journal and I just jotted that moment down of watching her as a child peeling the potatoes. So I think it's this idea of, you can take, if you don't want to sit down chronologically go through your life, you can just, as memories come up, write them down. And over the course of time, you now collect, you know, a bunch of memories that make up a good portion of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that becomes sort of your framework. And then you can go from moment to moment and fill in the blanks and then write your life story that way. And I remember that too, Linda. And it was always when she did potato salad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, the other end of the spectrum, very much more chronologically. So for some people, it's maybe feels more like a research project. So they might start, okay, when was I born? When did my parents meet? You know, what's my name? What are the first years of my life? And you know, they might jot down those important dates and then go back to that chronological list and fill in, use that as their framework and then fill it in. And now I want to just those are the two ways we want to practice with you in a minute. But before we do that, I would like to introduce you to another 3 ways that are slightly different, just to show you that there's a whole bunch of ways of doing that out there, and it really is up to you and your preference and your style. So one way that some people enjoy doing it, especially when they love history, is to jot down key historical events that happened throughout their life, and then go back to those and think, okay, so for example, I don't know, the assassination of Martin Luther King or John F. Kennedy or 9/11 maybe, and then they go back to those moments and think, okay, where was I in my life at that point in time, physically, but also in my life in terms of, did I have a family yet? How did that event shape me? How did it matter? And sort of access the memories through those historical events, and then build up around those and use that as a framework. Another way of doing it might be to list all your firsts. So again, people make a list of, okay, first time they remember Christmas, first time they were kissed, first time they bought a car, first time, I don't know, they got married, whatever it might be. And when they've made that list, they go back and use that as their framework to then write their life story. And again, go into each of their firsts and describe in a little bit more detail, you know, why was that so special? And I guess the reason why you do it with firsts is that often when you do something for the first time, it holds more significance, and your memories are sort of clearer often when it's your first time doing whatever. So yeah, that's the second one. And then the third one, which I really like, maybe because I've moved around a lot, is all the places you've lived. So you would write down all the different places you've lived, and then you'd go back to those individual places and go, okay, what did that mean to me? Where was I in my life in terms of, was I married? Was I not? Was it a good time for me? What were the ups and downs? If I had to describe that place to somebody, what did it smell like? What did it look like? What were the colors? What stands out for me? And they use that as their framework to write their life story. Anyway, we've clearly only just scratched the surface. There are lots and lots of different ways of doing this, but I wanted to give you a flavor of how you might access your memories. But what we're going to do now, and now you can go to the next slide, Linda, is get you to get involved and give some of this memory accessing, for want of a better word, a go. So what I'd like to do is use the memory journaling and the chronological way of doing it, because they are sort of quite extremes, one end of the spectrum and the other end, and that hopefully will help you figure out what kind of preference you have. So if we start maybe with the chronological one, because often people find that easier, can you spend, please, 2 minutes just jotting down the fact of your early life? So when were you born? What's your name? What are your parents called? do you have any siblings? When did your parents meet? So just factual. And then I'll be quiet for a minute and leave you to it for 2 minutes. I'll put the timer on, and then I will ask you how you got on. Just seen actually here in the chat, memories around food. I love that. Yeah, that's another way of doing it, isn't it? Okay, probably another sort of 30 seconds maybe. Okay, so in the chat again, how did that feel? How did you get on? Is that, so just type easy, or I found it boring, or quite tricky, or it's really not for me, or I loved it, or whatever. How was that for you? Okay, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Zoe. Okay, I'll leave it there. Oh, brilliant, Sandra and Julia. Okay, easy, memories recalled as well. Loved it. Helpful, it's a small block of time. Yep, appreciate that. It's literally just a taster to see whether you, whether it sort of rolls off the tongue. Yeah, this is great. I like it. I'm gonna go back to using that method when I start writing. Okay, so now let's try the opposite end, which is very much more an emotional way to access memories. And bear with me, it might feel a bit weird and strange at first. Like, I know that when Linda and I at first did this, we thought, oh my goodness, this is a bit weird, isn't it? So just bear with me. What I'd like you to do, if you're brave enough, is to close your eyes and really let your mind wander back in time and think back to a magic moment, a special time. It might be, I don't know, if you've got children, when you brought your daughter or son home, your first child, second child. It might be if your child got married, that might be a special moment, or it might be a really small moment, like Linda described earlier, peeling potatoes. Whatever that magic moment is for you, let your mind wander back to that time. Try and smell the smells, feel the feelings. Yeah, really let that sort of sit with you, and then keep hold of that memory, and then jot down just a few bullet points in terms of what that memory is about, so that when you come back to it later, you know how to embellish and fill in the gaps. So, oh, and I forgot to say, if possible, could you make this memory about somebody who is still alive, and you don't have to have seen them for a while, but you might have done, so it doesn't matter how often you see them, but it's important that they're still around. And there's a reason for this, and Linda will tell you what that reason is later. Thank you, Barbara. Okay, again, 2 minutes. What does that memory make you feel like? Why is it special to you? What has stayed with you from that memory? Okay. Appreciate it's really short bit of time, but it's just a flavor. So again, how easy or difficult was that for you? Was it natural? Did it feel natural to do it that way? Or was it a bit harder? Or maybe you didn't have enough time? I don't know. Yeah, give me a sense of, in the chat, what that felt like. Or maybe it didn't make sense to you. Hard to pick just one memory. Thank you, Jill. Okay, harder. Okay, thank you, Leslie, Sandra. Easy but disjointed from today. Yeah, that's an interesting point, actually. Yeah, because you could sort of jump back. I think it was easy. I was actually surprised when I picked a memory, how information started to flow from that event. Okay, easy until you state that people must be around. Okay. Brilliant. Well, first of all, thank you all very much for giving this a go, and yeah, just trying it. Here we go. My full memory, Donna. My full memory associated with smells of leaves and burning leaves. Playmates fun. Too many memories. Okay. Fantastic. Now I will hand over to Linda to explain to you why the idea was that it should be someone that's still around. I guess in terms of the exercise of you just accessing memories in different ways, it doesn't matter if that person is still around or not. But we have another idea for you that you might like to do. You might not, and that's fine too. But I will hand over to Linda to let you know what that is.
All right, so I thought we would share, and I want to see if anyone wants to share what came to mind. So if you want to raise your hand, if you want to share, we can unmute you, and I'd love to hear what might have come up. I think for me, when I used this kind of approach to just find a moment in time that was special and to go back there, and usually what we would do is we would really take a minute, be still, find that moment, pretend that we're back in that moment, and really try to visualize what it was like there. And when I did that, for me, I remember running into my, sorry, I have a cat running around here, running into my dad's arms when I was just a little girl. I think I must have been 3 or 4 years old, and I could just remember how he was kneeling on the floor with his arms wide open, big grin on his face. I don't know if I came out of preschool, but I remember that I was just running toward him, and what that felt like. And so as I was just jotting down that memory, I thought, this is such a special moment for me. I would love to share that with him. And so I wrote it down in a letter, and then I sent that to him. And I think he really loved hearing that little memory too. So I think that's what we asked. Is there a moment in time? Is there a memory that you share with somebody who's still alive, who's still here? And whether you've talked to them recently or whether you kind of lost touch, because I think it's just great to use those memories to reconnect and to just share our appreciation for that time together with that person. And usually it's been a very meaningful moment for that other person too. And it's almost Thanksgiving, so it's a perfect time to say thanks for a very special moment together. So that's why we wanted to see if you could remember something that with another person, so that you have a chance now, if you want to reach out to them and just share that moment with them.
And just real quick, we can't see if you have your hand raised. So if you just want to put into the chat that you have something you would like to share, then we can do it that way.
So the question is, does anybody want to share one of their magic moments? And
I know it could be very personal, so if you rather not, I totally understand that. I think we have Julia who'd be willing to share.
Thank you, Julia.
Yes, ma'am. Mine involves, it's a sad, happy, crazy memory. My family had just moved to Dallas. I was starting in a new school. I was lost going from class to class. I grew up in schools that the teachers, nobody moved. You were in one room the whole time. So when we came to Dallas, the very first day of school, the bell rings. I have no idea what's going on. Everybody jumps up and starts gathering the stuff and running. And I'm like, what just happened? And I'm trying to figure out. And I asked somebody and they tell me I need to get to my next class. Well, I have no idea where that is. And I'm lost. This is the whole morning. The point though, I went to my gym class, which was right before lunch. And the teacher, the bell rang, and then it rang again. So I was late. When I walked in, along with about 4 other kids, the teacher took each one of us and shoved us up against the wall. We were late. I tried to talk to her. She wouldn't listen. She just shoved me up against the wall. Here I am. I'm new. I'm humiliated. And I started crying. I think I cried through the whole class. When the class was over, and I stayed against the wall the whole time. When the class was over, this little girl walked up to me and said, "You're new, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "Let me see your schedule." "What's that?" She goes, "They gave you some," and she told me what it was. I pulled it out of my bag. She goes, "Okay, we have lunch together. Let's go." The rest of the day, she made it a point to come and find me and take me to my next class, and then she'd run to hers. And this little girl became my best friend. This was in 4th grade. We still see each other. She is my best friend to this day. And that memory just sticks with me because she just saved me. She really did, and became my best friend. Thank you.
What a wonderful story.
Awesome.
It's a wonderful memory.
Yeah, what a wonderful memory. Have you ever shared that with her? That's like reflected back to her that how special that was, that her saving you?
I actually have, because we do several groups together. We have a small business that we do together, and people often ask, "How did y'all meet?" Because they know that we've been we're friends 50 some odd years, and more like 60, but okay, who's counting, right? And I'll go back to that day, and she always laughs and she goes, "I don't remember being that heroic." And I said, "That's because you weren't the one that was lost."
Yeah.
But yeah, I have shared it with her, and she'd always laugh and says, "I don't remember, but I'm glad you do."
Yeah, exactly.
And it's interesting how really, I think in the end, life is so much just about those small moments and not necessarily about those big moments. So let me skip to the next slide. I don't know, Anika, do you want to do that, or you want me to?
No, you go.
So we just wanted to add a couple of very practical tips of things that you can do right after this Zoom to get started. So what we generally recommend is to start by setting an intention. So just sit down with some pen and paper, and just think about, if you were to write, who would you write for? Are you writing for yourself or someone else? Is this for a daughter or a grandchild? And what is it that you really want them to know? Is it about a period of your life, or is it the whole thing? Like, what is your goal and your intention? That's where we at Storyna always start, so that we can be clear on that. And we have some motivation later on when maybe things, you kind of get tired and you want to take a break, and maybe you're not sure if you want to finish. That's where you can go back and say, no, I'm doing this for my daughter, and I want to have this done by Christmas, and it's going to be okay. And it's going to be worthwhile. So figure out what your intention is for the project, and then set aside a specific time. So really schedule it, make it a commitment, so that you can really feel like, okay, I don't have to do it today, but I really want to sit every Tuesday afternoon and just take an hour and write. So set aside a specific time, either weekly or daily. It could be, just be clear on what day and time that might be. And then find your writing area. So we just want to make it a special place. So if you have a special, room that you like, maybe put some flowers and a candle, and make it a really nice place that you want to spend time in. And then decide on your writing approach. So this is a little bit of what we've explored here. Do you want to just capture moments in time and think about individual memories and jot those down, or do you want to go chronologically? And then finally, 5, find a writing group or an accountability partner. So usually I think it's more fun when we do something to do it together. And so if you have a friend that wants to do this with you, or if you want to join a group, or if you want to join us at Storyna, obviously, then find that person. If you don't have somebody who wants to do it with you, then at least maybe talk to your spouse or talk to a friend and tell them that you're doing this so that that person can help you just stay on track and keep going. So those are more specific tips. And then obviously want to talk a little bit about how we can help. We want to introduce to you 3 different options. I'm going to go through them one by one, but basically one is an online program. One is a Zoom workshop, very similar to this. And then we have a printed journal that you might consider. So thinking about online, what we did is we built an online platform where we take you through 8 steps and we guide you through the process of writing your story. So this is kind of a glimpse of what that online platform looks like. You'd have to log in, and then this is what you would see. It's your personal writer's workshop that you can go through at your own time. So this says week 2 of 8, but really it's step 2 of 8. So you can take however long you'd like to go through those steps. So as you can see here at the top, there's going to be a getting ready phase, which is the intention setting. Then there's the writing phase. Then we're going to have a review phase, and then you can actually print. And then at the conclusion of this, you can get a book printed if you'd like. And so you get an assignment basically for every step. And then underneath you can type. This is kind of the area where you would type, where you would write, which works just like your Word document would. And you can send yourself or a child a backup of what you're writing, just an email with your writing if you want to. So it's all happening online, it's saved online, and then at the end of the 8 steps, you would get to a page where you can download a PDF and request a printed hardbound book. And I have a couple of examples. I don't know if you can even see me. I might have to do that at the end, but these are kind of the books, and they're, again, hardbound, and you can share those with your family. So that is the online platform. Then we also have a journal. So if you want to just write handwriting, then this would be what we call the My Life Journal. And it just is a nice quality journal that asks you some questions and you can just handwrite. It also has sections for family recipes and family traditions. So it just has a little bit more current things that are current in your life. But that would be an option if you wanted to just jot down your thoughts. And then, let's see here, we are about to launch a Zoom workshop. Are you hearing an echo? Or is that just me?
I am not hearing an echo.
Okay, that's good. Maybe it's just mine. It's weird. Okay.
I am. I'm hearing an echo.
Are you, Jill?
Well, if it gets too bad, just put it in the chat. I'll figure something out. But so the third one, again, we're about to launch a live Zoom workshop where we basically meet just like this. It starts next week, lasts 6 weeks, so that by Christmas you can have either you can be well on your way or you can already be done and have your story written. And that, I think I have a little bit more information on here. So again, what would happen is every week for 6 weeks, once a week, we would get together with our little workshop group, just like this on Zoom. We provide you a link and you just log on like this. And then we would go through the assignment of the week. We can share stories, we can ask questions, answer questions, brainstorm together. And then we'll provide a workbook for you to follow along. And then if you have any questions between the sessions, Anika and I are here to help. And then at the end of this, you have the option to print your book. This will start next Tuesday from the 17th through December 22nd, so that you have a chance to have this completed before Christmas and surprise your family if you'd like. But again, lots of people just want to take their time and enjoy the process. And so there's no need to have it completed by then. It'll happen on Zoom, and the cost is $10 per session, or $60, I guess, all in for the 6 weeks. If this is interesting to you, if any of this really is interesting to you, just put in the chat and we can reach out to you individually afterwards. Or if you're interested in the workshop, just go to storyna.com/workshop and you'll find more information there. You can send me an email at linda@storyna.com. Yeah, or just put it in the chat and we'll reach out. I think, oh, and then we, as a Celebration Magazine friends, we're giving you guys 10% off everything. So you just use the code celebration if you would like during our checkout on the website. Yeah, and that is kind of a quick overview of the different ways we can help you write your story, write down your memories. So if you guys have any questions, then we'd be happy to answer them.
All right, so I saw a bunch of questions come up in chat. Can you add video storytelling to the writing platform?
So what we do, well, first of all, we're still a new business, a young business. I'm right here in Dallas. So we are very open. We have basically what we say, if you have any custom needs, contact us. So if you have anything that you want to do that you don't see on the website, just send me an email and we can figure something out. As far as what we have available as an existing product, what we offer is you would just upload or send us videos of, so basically you just look at the prompt and you send us a video of your storytelling. And then we will take that video, we'll transcribe it, we'll put it, in writing, and then we'll put it in your book. And then you get a book and a little USB stick with the videos together. And that's on the storyna.com as an option.
That's cool. I like that one. Okay, so Anika, someone asked about the type of book and I saw what service you use and you answered that. Do you want to explain that a little bit more?
So, obviously we are not actually physically printing the book. So we are working with a company called Blurb, but what we would do is we basically take your writing, we put it in a design, we, design the cover, we make sure the inside looks nice. And so we then just use Blurb to actually get it printed, if that makes sense.
Fantastic. And is there a limit to the number of pages?
Yes, but kind of. 200 pages are included in the $39 per book price. If you go beyond that, then I think anything above that would be $49, which is just because the print cost goes up quite a bit. But we haven't really seen anyone give us more than 200 pages, so you should be okay.
Okay, great. And then I'm sorry, what is the cost for printing the books again? We had somebody ask that. I just wanted to make sure we all heard it.
So we have a couple of different options to go about this. If you buy only the book, if you participate in the workshop, or if you sign up for a monthly subscription of the platform, which I believe is $24 a month, which both of these do not include a printed book, then you can always buy a printed book for $39 and you can buy however many ones you like. And I think if you get over 10, there is another discount. So it's $39 for a book. There's a bundle on the homepage where you get a whole year of access and you get a book and whatever. And I think that's $169. And that includes a host of stuff. And that also includes a book.
Fantastic. All right. Pat Stevens says she thinks this is going to be really helpful for her. She leads a writing group for her senior apartment. So that's awesome. Are there books like the one you mentioned with questions to ask and about, there you go. Sorry, there's the question.
Which one is it?
They were asking if so when you spoke about the book that they got for the granddad, to ask the granddad, do you have a resource like that on your website, or are there books that you're aware of that they can purchase for that type of thing?
Yes, I think that would be the My Life journal that has some very specific questions and some more open-ended questions. So this is a bigger one. I think I also saw, and it's on our website, if you go to Storyna.com, on the top, it has life story and memory journal. This would be the memory journal.
Mhm.
It has,
So we also have a PDF with like 20 questions to ask grandma, which are like more specific. What was grandma's favorite, whatever. Yeah.
I like the My Life journal because that to me seems like something I could do with someone, you know? I mean, that's exactly what that is. I could sit down if, you know, with my mom or my dad and go through it with them and help them record it. I think that would be a fantastic resource for that. So, yeah.
and what we also see people do is they subscribe to the platform, to the
Mhm.
online platform, and
Mhm.
then they get that video of Anika talking to them about the assignment.
Mhm.
And then, but instead of writing themselves, they ask that question or show the screen to a loved one, and then either type it in for them or video record them, and then we can use that as well. And I think
Awesome.
this is just great for people too that don't want to have to mess with a computer and that like to just put pen to paper and
Yeah. Yeah.
write.
So what size are the books?
So the actual books are 6 by 9 inches. So this is your traditional book size.
It's a great size. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if you don't, I think this literally has like 20 pages because it's just a sample, and it still already looks like it's a book. You don't have to, feel like you have to write hundreds of pages.
So someone asked if you could do volumes.
As in?
Christine, do you want to unmute yourself and expand on that a little bit?
If for some reason you had more than the 20 pages and you wanted to do from this period to this period because this person has lived a very lengthy life, then you could possibly do volume 1, volume 2 or something that way. And I also was interested in the journal because if you're trying to record a family member, you need something to kind of get them talking, but you want to record it right. And then I don't know, did you mention how much that journal was?
I want to lie. I think the journal is $29.
Okay, I just was wondering, but it's basically, my dad has lots of stories. He was in the military, and his stories read like some of those movies. You won't believe some of the things they did, the shenanigans they did, and and if you start going through it, my nephew came to visit with him for one of his school projects, and they talked for 3 hours just on parts of his life. So I was thinking, I think that might be a way if someone has a similar situation where my life in the military, my life with family. He grew up during the Depression. He remembers World War II. He remembers some of the other things. And we want to hear about our other family members that are no longer with us. So I think once he gets going, he tells great stories, but I don't want to limit him. So I'm thinking there's probably a way to categorize them so you get the wealth of it.
Yeah, it's a lovely idea to do it as different volumes, because again, even when you're thinking about sharing it with other people, some might be interested just in the military side, and some might be interested just in the early years or whatever. So they don't have to read the entire book. You do have 200 pages, but even then, if you go above that, you can. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I don't know,
to do
but
that.
I just thought that might be an option if you ended up having more than what you want to do, and you may not want to make the big book, one book that big,
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
Yeah, shoot us an email, or again, just put it here in the chat, and we'll follow up. We'll figure out how we could do that. I mean, how do I say this? The tool is already set up where we could easily do it, but we could also do it just by you sending us a Word document, or obviously that journal is an option. I think The reason that people like the writing either on the computer in some sort of way is because now they can print one or they can print 10 and give one to everyone in the family, which is harder to do when you have it handwritten.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. I'm making notes too for you guys also, so I'll make sure I include. So we did have a question. So in the books with the cost, does that include photos?
Yes, so you can upload photos. Each chapter asks you about, do you want to upload photos? And then you can do that and they will be added to each chapter. So that's not a problem. The only thing I'd like to say is if you upload a lot of photos, that's how the page count goes up. But I mean, yes, you can upload as many photos as you'd like.
That's fantastic. I love that option. Jill made a good suggestion. She said using a voice recorder on your phone would come in handy to help transcribe everything. Because when people talk, they talk, and you want to make sure you don't miss any of the information. So that's a great little tip there, Jill. So. Okay. Any other questions for today before I announce their next event? They're going to join us again, but were there any other questions that anyone had? And also don't forget, you have that coupon code celebration that gives you 10% off, like they mentioned. Pat Stevens said, awesome. Thanks. You guys have been really great and interactive throughout this. Amazing questions, I think. And it really gets you thinking. Like, it's so like, just to share real quick. So my memory that I focused on was my big extended family Thanksgivings, right? Most of my cousins and we were all around the same age when we were kids. And it was amazing. The things as I started to think about it, all the things I remembered, like having, like me and my parents and my aunt and my uncle and my grandmother all smashed in the same car driving 2 hours to get to my aunt and uncle's house. And, just the flood of things that come back. And it's really interesting because that one event, it could be turned into one huge story, but also into smaller stories because there were so many different pieces to it. So anyway, I thought that was great. So, join us again. We have Anika and Linda they're going to join us again. And that is going to be, I want to make sure I give you the right information, on December 2nd. Once again, you're going to spend the mornings with us. So bring your coffee at 11 a.m. And this is going to be a gift tip. So this is going to talk about if you would like to do this for the holidays, surprise your loved ones with special moments. You're going to learn more about the memory journaling and how they can help you create that keepsake. So it's really, really going to be fun and great. And if you missed it in the chat earlier, for those of you that said no one has ever asked you for your story, I'm asking because I have learned just the most amazing things, just tiny blurbs about you in our happy hours and our Zoom events here that I would love to hear those stories. So if you want to write them and share them with me, I would love to read them. So, and
I just wanted to add before we hop off that if you do want to participate in the Zoom workshop, that starts next Tuesday. So we're going to wrap up registration here over the next couple of days, and it is designed specifically for a celebration family. So yeah, make sure that you somehow wave a hand or let us know so that we can make sure you're already on for next week, and hopefully we get a little group together here.
Well, fantastic. And Anika and Linda, I'm also going to send you the information for the people that registered, so you can send everyone a reminder email about registering for that. So that way people don't have to worry about going, me, we'll get that done. All right, you guys, let's see. We got some more messages. Yes, the discount code is celebration. And everybody says thank you for being such a great group. Oh, that was you, Anika. Anika said thank you for being such a great group. We felt very welcomed. It's really nice to get that feedback. Barbara Weaver said thanks for a great presentation. Vivian, great presentation. Everyone really enjoyed it. So thank you once again for joining us. All my celebration family out there in Zoom with us, thank you for joining us. You guys have a wonderful weekend. We will see you on Tuesday. We have Iris Memory Care doing a very special presentation. Julia, I'll make sure you get that information. I just saw your thing pop up. Special presentation on Tuesday from Iris Memory Care talking about how to get through the holidays. So they have some really great tips and tricks in there, especially if you have a family member or a friend who is dealing with memory loss. I've looked at the presentation. It is fantastic. Wednesday, we are doing how to make a move, or is it time to move? We're going to have Lori Williams with us, and she is going to be talking about the signs that it might be time to consider making a move. And we're also going to have Brendan Duffy and Brenda join us from Ebby Halliday, and they're going to be talking about how their services tie into that. Okay, Debbie, I will do. I saw your message. And what's on Thursday? Thursday, we've got the Western Museum of Art virtual tour. So we're going to be heading out and looking at some fantastic art. So don't forget to go to celebrationmagazine.com to register. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Linda, Anika, thank you so much. Today was really great. It was a lot of fun. And I hope people start thinking, and I'm serious, if you want to share those stories with me, I would love to read them. So, all right, guys, everybody have a great day, great weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
I
Thanks, so.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Anika and Linda. Enjoyed it.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was great. I enjoyed that. That was really great. I made some notes. They will come over in the email with the information. Let me grab a highlighter so I don't miss them, because I just scribbled them on my page.
Hello, this is Debbie. Can you hear me?
Got you, Debbie.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Oh, I've never seen your hair that long before.
Oh, I know. It's really long.
Really long. Yeah, it's pretty.
Thank you.
Had every kind of problem trying to get home. I was on the freeway for I don't know how long, and
Oh
then
no.
my neighborhood, and there was a traffic accident, and the police would not let me drive straight to my house.
Oh
So
goodness.
anyhow, I am just getting home, and I really wanted this because I'm the oldest sibling, and everybody's always asking me to write down things that
Oh yeah.
they don't know, because I'm 9 years older than my youngest sister. So I really wanted this. Is this recorded? Is it going to be available someplace?
Yes, it has been recorded.
Okay.
And we will be posting it up on our YouTube channel, but also the website that's going to have some information about what they're doing is Storyna.com, but we will most definitely get this recording up. And then also on December 2nd, they're going to do another presentation, Debbie, so you can join us then.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so sorry that happened.
I know my life's been going that way lately. My refrigerator's been out for 2 weeks, and
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe I'll have to eat out for Thanksgiving.
no, I hate hearing
20 years
that.
old. It's 20 years old, and my husband doesn't want to buy a new one, right?
Right.
And, we have an extended warranty on it, but they can't find the parts, and so, I might have to
Oh.
come to your house.
Oh, Well, Debbie, I hope things start looking brighter for you, okay?
Too. They will. I know they will. But nice seeing you again. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye, darling. All right. Well, I'm going to close down our Zoom meeting. Linda, Anika, we will get that information to you hopefully by the end of the day. If not the end of the day, it'll be Monday, okay, with the list and everything.
So you guys aren't sending any follow-up. We'll just take care of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. So fantastic. And then we'll be advertising the December event also for you in our stuff
I know
too.
I owe you an article. I have to.
Yes, you
work
do.
on
You know what would be great is just a little article on some of the exercises you did today that people can do on their own and then direct them, you know, to the website. And I think that would be fantastic because people seem to really enjoy that. I think the biggest challenge you have with what you do is I think so many people go, well, they don't have those cues and those things. They don't think they can remember the stuff, you know, and it's also who would want to read it, you know. But it was great. I mean, I didn't realize, you know, once you sit down, like I said, the cues that you gave were fantastic. And it tickled me pink, some of the things that I remembered, you know. So
Yeah, I always say I wrote my first life story at 24. If I can do that, then you know, I'm sure there are much more interesting stories out there than I was able to share at 24.
Oh yeah.
Lots to say already.
Well, I don't know if I told you this, but I told you we did the 2 truths and a lie. I mean, we had a woman that marched with Martin Luther King Jr. in the group, and I was just blown away by that. And just the history is phenomenal. So, all right, everybody. Well, thank you, Linda, Anika. If you guys need anything, don't hesitate to contact me or if you have any questions. Okay.
Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you so
bye,
much.
guys.
Brilliant today. Take care. Bye.